Shove it, man!
Alright, it's the Hawk, and I'm somebody who really struggles in life unless I've got an MO, and it just keeps me focused and gives me a sense of progression in life. I was hoping my MO right now would be the Baroud tour, but the visa authorities aren't playing ball. Someone needs to hit them with a brick. I'm in regular contact with the boy, but there isn't a lot we can do right now until he's allowed in the country. So I found a new MO, TNA Wrestling. For all of those jokes and videos that I've made over the past, I still love this company and I hate seeing how it is nowadays. I genuinely want to try and help them, but why would they listen to me? At the end of the day, I'm just a stupid bird with a Hulk Hogan face smashed on top of it. Well, it does seem like they could be listening slightly. Rachel Rose appeared recently on Impact against Mickie James. She was someone I've been pushing for heavily on this channel. Not sure if I helped her, but either way, congratulations to Rachel Rose. This might be fantasy booking, but it seems that her and Impact could be a reality now. The MO needs to continue though. We need to push on with this series and it's going to struggle to get views at first, so like, comment and share. It honestly helps me so much. We're trying to establish a brand and identity completely different to AEW or WWE. I know some people don't understand what I mean by that. And one other thing, TNA, if you're listening, you have got to stop giving your pay-per-views away for free on YouTube. I know you're desperate for money, but you just can't do that. I'm begging and I'm pleading with you, TNA, please stop this. You're completely devaluing your pay-per-view library. Why would anyone ever pay for your online service when they could just watch it for free on YouTube? Don't you think that's a kick to the jaw to your paying customers? Here's an idea. Make some documentaries if you want to make some money. Just think about it for a moment. All the things that Hogan did, all the things that Dixie did, all the things that Russo did, and now they're giving away pay-per-views for free. And I'm not talking one or two, I'm talking pretty much their whole pay-per-view library. Does this company ever learn? Sort it out, TNA. Your video library is your most valuable asset at this point. If you want to earn money, the Hawk can help you, but this has to stop. I know it's nice for your viewers to get free pay-per-views, but imagine if WWE started giving away WrestleMania for free on YouTube. They wouldn't. Anyway, intro over. I'm sorry. Let's watch episode 3 of TNA 2022. Last time on TNA 2022. Josh Matthews recalls how the Aces and Eights were dominating on the show until Vikingo strangely stood up for the TNA roster. It was a pretty big moment and unexpected. The Diva Knockouts feud continues. Grace promises to take out Rachel tonight to be left alone with Maria. And the other main headline is that Josh Alexander is still missing, and we're starting to worry if he's even alive. The roster seems lost without him. The show starts at a beach somewhere. A couple ladies walking by, the sun is out, it looks like paradise. Surfing and turfing are trying to encourage Rhino into the water, but he's scared. Brian Myers emerges from the water looking like frickin' Hasselhoff from Baywatch, and he insults Rhino, saying that he'll need to get used to handling his board. Eric Young interrupts, he seems to be fishing nearby. He tells the surfers to get out of the waters because he's fishing, and surfing and turfing is so ugly that they're scaring his fish off. Eddie Edwards tells Eric they will settle this turf dispute tonight in a match that will also help Rhino get used to handling his board. Catch the wave, Eric Young. And we cut to the Impact Zone for the first time, and that match will be now. It's Rhino representing surfing and turfing, and he's accompanied by the most professional surfer Brian Myers and Eddie Edwards. And he will of course take on Eric Young. But the twist is that this will be a bodyboard on a pole match. It only goes a few minutes. We aren't trying to have a 5-star match here. It's a pole match at the end of the day. This is more about character development. Rhino is about to win when he starts getting distracted by the fans chanting surf and turf. He starts pretending that he's riding the top rope like a surfboard. He's basically being an idiot. Eric Young gives him a Death Valley driver from the top, and then he collects the bodyboard. The crowd chant at Eric to use the board, but Eric Young is a heel, so he snaps the board across his knee. Eric plays with the crowd for a moment before Myers throws another bodyboard to Eric. Young catches it and looks confused. Why did Myers just throw him a board? Then he realises what's about to happen and his eyes grow wide. The crowd are going berserk. He turns around as Rhino smashes him with a gore into the bodyboard. Rhino is the winner. Young flips out after the match and says he only lost because he's facing 3 surfer dudes at once. In the Aces and Eights locker room, some members of the TNA roster are all tied up. Storm wants to introduce the viewers to the Aces and Eights gut punching special. Basically, they punch the TNA roster in the gut 10 times, and if anyone is still conscious after 10 punches, they win. Storm says he doesn't know who any of the TNA guys are because the Aces and Eights don't watch the show. They're busy beating people up and drinking and chasing women. It's not going well for the TNA roster in the gut punching special, they're all passing out. Baroud is carrying the Aces and Eights their drinks when he trips and knocks a can over. Storm says as a punishment for that it's his turn. Storm punches him in the gut 10 times, his hand just seems to be bouncing off Baroud's stomach. On the 10th punch, Baroud fires up. The Aces and Eights are in shock. How has he not fainted? Then Briscoe smacks him in the head with a hammer. Tell that scrub when he wakes up he needs to book the club spot for us tonight. Storm tells us he has someone else he needs to deal with tonight. Out in the street it's Enzo Amore. He's asked where he's been and if he has a problem with James Storm, seeing as they were brought in together. Enzo says he's not interested, he just wants to increase his own brand. He says he could take the X Division title if he wanted because Shannon is just a man with a mohawk. He says he could take the tag belts, but no one is cool enough to team with him. He says the world title is also possible, but he doesn't fancy getting punched in the gut because he can't afford to be winded because he needs his voice for his raps. Instead, he'll be unveiling something far more suitable for himself next week on Impact. In the back, Trey Miguel is talking to Shane Mercer. Mercer's giving him tips on how to build muscle. Miguel asks him if he can give him a tip tonight for his match against Ace Austin. He asks Mercer if he got a good look at the big guy who attacked him during the match. Mercer says that it looked like Madman Fulton, but something was different about him. Either way, tonight Trey Miguel is going to win and find out what Fulton is doing. It's an X Division matchup, Trey Miguel versus Ace Austin, who's wearing the glasses that he wore last week. He's also got a weird bowl haircut. He looks like a geek. They have a brilliant X Division match as you'd expect from these two. Trey has him beat, but Ace Austin gets lucky and cutters him across the ropes, knocking down the ref at the same time. Just like last week, Ace Austin grabs a mic and screams "Harvey" into the mic a few times. Miguel is now in the ring with his arms out questioning what the hell's going on. From behind, it's Harvey. He grabs Miguel into a full Nelson and slams him to the mat. The commentary team are now convinced that it is Madman Fulton. Ace Austin wins when the ref comes to. Harvey carries Ace Austin away, who still has a mic and he's bragging about the win in his squeaky voice. That's what you get when you mess with me and my big brother Harvey. Quick interview with Jordan Grace, who has vowed to take apart Rachel Rose so she can have a fair one-on-one match with Maria at the pay-per-view. That match is now. Jordan Grace versus Rachel Rose with Maria. It's a pretty short match. We're trying to achieve something here though. Grace wins and takes out Rose so badly that she's stretchered away. Maria is livid and she's flipping out. She's not really worried about her friend, she's more concerned about her last line of defence being taken out. As Rose is carted out into the ambulance, she hands Maria a phone and tells her to call her. She says that she's on board. Maria smiles. Who is she talking about here? The new tag team champions, the Motor City Machine Guns, are in action. By the way, we've changed their entrance music back to the 1967 theme they had. It's the song you can hear in the background right now. I haven't mentioned it, but I've been working on getting some memorable and standout entrance themes for my wrestlers. The entrance music is a huge part of a wrestler's character. Nothing wrong with the Motor City Machine Guns one, I just wanted to change it because it's been a while. They will take on the Aces and Eights scrub team, Bischoff and Briscoe, in a non-title match. The Guns are due to defend against Gallows and Anderson soon because they've got a rematch clause. They just want Bischoff and Briscoe to soften them up. We're going to make an effort to put Bischoff's finish of the grease cutter over on commentary. We want this to be a bit like DDP's diamond cutter. You never know when he's going to hit it. When in real life it was more like you didn't even know he could hit it. We're trying to do away with run-ins and constant DQ finishes, so let them have a proper match. Briscoe is going to embrace his slimy, greasy side more. Have him spit at the Guns and really wind everyone up. Bischoff hits the grease cutter on Sabin before he's rolled up by Shelley. Because at the end of the day, it's Bischoff and Briscoe. A beatdown starts to happen on the Guns. Matthews on commentary is livid that no one from the TNA locker room is helping yet again. Or at least he thought so, because just like last week, it's Vikingo with a crazy flip dive taking out the Aces and Eights on his own. James Storm storms out. He says tonight in the main event, Vikingo is going to find out why the rest of the TNA roster are afraid of him. Big moment for Vikingo. We're trying to have him flirt with the main event while still being in the X Division, a bit like how they handled AJ Styles in the early days of TNA. A pre-taped segment called Life on the Road and a debut for a new wrestler. It's Sami Callahan and Scott Steiner together, just kind of documenting their travels. And the master of the cab driver slam is back in TNA. And we're actually finally giving him a character. Can you guess what it is? True story, I recently interviewed David Young and he wants back to TNA badly. So if you want the master of the cab driver slam back on your screens, let TNA know. It sounds like he'd be willing to play any sort of character, so why not? I think a Steiner and Callahan driving around pairing would be fun, and they are associated in TNA management, so it makes sense they would travel together. It ends at a motel. The person on the desk reveals that a biker is also a wrestler just checked in and asked if they are friends. Steiner smiles and chokes the front desk worker, demanding to know what room they're in, or he'll snap the worker's neck. Callahan is still depressed and nervous when the subject of the Aces and Eights comes up. He begs Steiner not to do anything. Steiner flips out at him and kicks the door down. Inside, it's Santana Garrett, who has been associated with the Aces and Eights. I never said it was a man, I just said a biker wrestler. Steiner tells her to calm down and apologises for breaking the door. He says he doesn't know his own strength, but she can find out if she wants. The door closes. Moose meets with Sami Callahan backstage. Sami begs for his help, but Moose says it isn't his fight. He's going to become the World Heavyweight Champion without help, because he's that damn good. Gallows and Anderson walk past and ask Moose if he's looking forward to his title match with Storm. Moose says it should be fun and smiles at them. Whose side is this guy on anyway? LAX out now. Conan is demanding competition for his team. He says they want a shot at the tag belts, but they're being held down because of their heritage. They're eventually interrupted by Mike Bailey and Steve Macklin. They say that since the changes on the show, they feel like they're being held down too. And they're not the only ones. They ask Conan for the match tonight and he says fine if you want to dig your own graves. The match can be great, but LAX need to win this because we're going to build up most of the tag teams around them in the future. They just need something to do whilst the Motor City Machine Guns are dealing with the Aces and Eights. Conan asks TNA if that's the best they can do. Two jabronis who aren't even a real tag team. I do want to do something with Steve Macklin. I see potential in him. I just haven't figured it out yet, so I'm just getting him on TV for the meantime. Another surfing and turfing segment. Eddie Edwards is chatting up some women. He says it used to be all about the bodybuilders, but now it's about the bodyboarders. The ladies giggle and ask Eddie to sign their surfboards. Chicks dig surfers. Maybe this new gimmick can work for me, Eddie says after they leave. In the TNA locker room, Matt Cardona thinks it's time to do something. Sami tells him no, we need our leader Josh Alexander. He doesn't trust Cardona to lead them. Someone needs to find Josh Alexander. Is he even still alive? Did the Aces and Eights take him out off camera? Callahan says he'll figure it all out next week, but no violence against the Aces and Eights right now, please. Sami is a depressed mole. Mia Yim out now. She says she won't have anything to do with the Diva stuff, but she will give the crowd an amazing match tonight. She takes on the Virtuosa, who also doesn't want to get involved with the Diva stuff. It's a friendly match, but they want to show everyone that women aren't just eye candy. A good clean match which ends in a double count out as both women intensely try to show that they're the better woman. Let's see Maria top that. The main event is James Storm taking on Vikingo. He's built up as having absolutely no chance against James Storm, and the Cowboy is certainly overconfident. Think of this match as like that time Taka Michinoku took Triple H to his limits. That match was awesome. Storm does dominate, but he keeps almost getting rolled up before shutting Vikingo down again. Vikingo manages to string together some offense and he wants to finish Storm off with a dive. When out of nowhere, the X-Division champion Jeff Hardy's stoner friend Shannon Moore shoves Vikingo off the top rope. Storm hits the last call and for good measure a pile driver. That's how the show ends. Shannon is shown laughing as the Aces and Eights send Vikingo through a table. But one last thing, in the TNA locker room, Matt Cardona is flipping out telling the TNA wrestlers they need to do something or grow some balls. Sami Callahan keeps shutting them down and saying the Aces and Eights are too strong and they can't do anything. He says he's in charge and he signs the wrestlers' paychecks and he forbids any of them to get involved. Cardona asks what happened to the real Sami Callahan because this one's a pussy. He calls Sami Callahan a fat has-been who isn't fit to lead TNA. He keeps screaming in his face to do something. Sami flips out and eventually pushes Cardona down the flight of steps. Was it deliberate or not though? That's how the show ends. The roster can't stand up to the Aces and Eights and now the TNA management is fighting his own wrestlers and having his authority questioned. The Aces and Eights leave the arena stepping over Cardona in the process. Storm tells him sorry about your damn luck. That's it for this week. As you can see, we're trying to give everyone a story and a character. If they don't have a reason to be on the show other than wrestling, they aren't going to be on the show. We're a company that is driven by storylines. I am struggling a bit for free agent main event talent who could work. Let me know if you think I should bring in EC3, because Control Your Narrative is pretty much finished in my opinion. If you do know any tough guys in the indies, I'd be interested to do some research to see if they fit into my product. Like I said earlier, like, comment, share and subscribe, and let TNA know you fully endorse this change in wrestling. Nothing will change if you don't make it, and if you don't agree with that, you're worthless and lazy.
It needs to be shoved.